Okay, guys, we're still here. We didn't get banned. We didn't get taken down. We're still here. We're still kicking, and we're still going to be bringing you amazing content that you love. However, it is still looking like for the very near future it's going to be about once a month. So I'm really sorry. I want to put out more content than that and give you guys more fodder, more enjoyable stuff to watch, especially on Sundays. I do that out of irony. But we do have an episode for you today, and I'm going to intro it for you in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about some of the upcoming episodes that we've got for you right here on the computer. I just need to edit them and post them. You wouldn't think it would take that long, but it does, let me tell you. We've got a Chloe cast coming up for you, which I know you're going to enjoy. I always love those, especially because they're only 10 minutes long. So those of you who are like, man, this thing is dragging on forever, or really just get to the point, those are for you. Then we also have John Bannister's back. John Warden is back. We've got some great episodes with them. And I'm super excited to bring you the very first episode of our podcast that features Josh Owens, a very dear friend of mine I've known for a long time. We went to the same college, Hyles-Anderson, Fake Jesus College together, and had a lot of fun memories together inside and outside of that environment. He also has his own podcast, Good Humans. Go check him out over on their Facebook page or Spotify, wherever you like to listen to your podcast. Check out Good Humans. They're terrific. And Josh has done incredible work over there. I sound like a pastor now, don't I? With what he's put up as far as content and as far as making the content not just enjoyable but applicable for everyone. So let me talk about today's episode. I'm really excited to share it with you for a lot of reasons, but probably the biggest reason, because I don't think I've done this before, is I got in a Facebook fight, as I do. If you know me personally, you see that going on often. But I got in a pretty solid Facebook fight with some very, some of them were racist, and most of them were just, intolerant of anyone whose sexual orientation didn't match theirs. So there's going to be a lot of that on this podcast. So if that's, you definitely never have children watch or listen to this. I don't know why I'd have to say that it's rated for that, but definitely never have that. It's just not wise, in my opinion, and I do have a child. But we go over a Facebook fight I had with these people because they just hate gay people so much. But the way they like to express it is we love the sinner, but we hate the sin, or we are tolerant of gay people, but we still love them. And so that is just, to me, mind-boggling. And some of you watching this may think like I'm speaking some kind of cryptic alien stuff. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't register. Like, how do you love someone but not what they do? It just doesn't add up. So I got in this Facebook fight, and I'll tell you right now, this is towards the end of the podcast. So if that's all you want to listen for, that's fine. And there's a lot of other reasons to listen, but it's towards the end. And what I did was I told them in this thread, which has since been deleted a long time ago, I told them, I said, hey, by the way, all this hate and vitriol, this hate speech that you're spitting towards my friends, who aren't just like me, and that's why you don't like them. All this hatred, I'm going to go ahead and share it with them because I think it would be important to hear what they have to say about it. And then it wasn't long after, and that thread got deleted. But I did screenshot, as I also tend to do, and I shared these comments, very hateful, and so I was very appreciative of my good friend John Keister taking the time and not getting offended and actually allowing himself to sit with these comments and kind of think about, ruminate on them, and think about how they made him feel and then speak to it. So for a couple of reasons, I'm really excited about this episode, but that reason specifically, I'm very excited because John doesn't get enraged, John doesn't get all worked up. He just speaks from the heart, and honestly, he talks more about love than I thought he would after hearing these vicious things that were said about him, really. So we talk about that, and we get into a lot of, get off in the weeds a lot, but it's so much fun. I always have a great time with John Keister. And we do start off in the beginning. If you're currently flipping houses, or you're looking to do that in the near future, John's been doing that for a long time as well. So he's got some great advice for you on that. I kind of interviewed him a little bit of a questionnaire on what he's doing in the housing market, flipping houses, real estate, and he's been very successful. So something that if that's what you're looking to do or you're doing it currently, I feel like it could be a great help to you. I think that's about it. There's all kinds of stuff all in between there. We talk about things that we've talked about in the past on the podcast in regards to Christianity, specifically the IFB and how they just can't handle the gay community. If I'm saying that correctly, I hope I am. We cover that. That kind of that's the common thread through the whole podcast. So if that's something that intrigues you, or you hate, or you think it's the way things should be, then you'll enjoy this episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. This is the longest intro ever. I think. I tried to not talk too fast, but I had a lot to say. So enjoy this episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast. My name's Stuart. This is my great friend, John. And this is the Not Your Mother's Podcast.
Cheers.
Cheers. He sipped so classily.
Mm-hmm.
John Keister, by the way. And John, you've been on 2 previous episodes of Not Your Mother's Podcast.
Yes.
And as we've discussed before, you don't exactly live in this area.
No, I don't.
Where I live, where we film the podcast.
Yes.
And so I wanted to say, of course, thank you for taking the time. And, you didn't have to come do this. So I'm really super grateful for you being here. Thank you once again.
Really cool.
But I'd like to talk about, just because I think it's really exciting, what brings you to California? What are you doing in Southern California?
I came out here because the guy I'm dating, Jeremiah, we've been seeing each other for about 8-9 months.
Oh, congratulations. I didn't realize, we've talked about it, but I didn't realize you guys, honestly, this is not fake surprise.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you guys have been seeing each other that long.
Yeah,
That's terrific.
It's been a while.
Hell yeah.
And then, anyways, he's a contestant on American Idol, and so we're out here in Los Angeles filming stuff this week, so
that's super exciting.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Pretty cool.
I'm very excited for you and for him.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of the more recent Idol seasons, but I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah.
If anyone, I don't know who watches this that would know me well enough, but maybe a couple of people. Ryan Seacrest will forever be the man crush for me. I just think the guy, I think he hung the moon. I think he's terrific.
Yeah.
Someone that can not just do well with American Idol, but is like, I'm not a fan of the Kardashians, but the fact that he uses them, like it's Ryan Seacrest Productions.
Right.
He's making tons of money off of their ridiculous, what's
the
it
foresight of seeing that would be
Yeah.
a television phenomenon,
It's
what I
crazy.
mean?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, and it's making him loads of cash. So.
Right, yeah.
Good for him for that.
So sad for him.
Yeah, yeah. What a bummer.
Right, exactly.
Sucks to be Ryan Seacrest.
And why did he pick up on the Kardashians over anyone else?
How? How would you know?
Why not film Paul and Jan Crouch?
There you go.
From TVN.
Yeah. I mean, I would. Anyone in the 700 Club realm,
right?
Exactly. For me.
Exactly.
I'm sure I mentioned it before. They've blocked me. I'm blocked from the 700 Club's Facebook page.
Oh, really?
In regards to actually some of the stuff we're going to talk about today.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Good times. Who has me blocked? They have me blocked. North Valley Baptist Church or Golden State Baptist College has me blocked.
Too.
Yeah. What's funny with the North Valley or the Golden State Baptist College, I got blocked not because of anything I said or did, but when the whole Cameron Giovanelli thing was going on, and Jack Trieber said something about it in church, everyone was like tagging me in all their church's posts.
Oh, really?
And they're like, this Stewart guy's got to go. I didn't even say anything. I didn't even like a single comment.
Right.
Done. Blocked. Them.
There.
And Howes Anderson has me blocked on Facebook and Instagram.
Right, it's so weird because like Anthony is like my friend or something like that.
Is he really still
on Instagram? And he posts all this stuff, but it's like
That's
so
funny.
weird that like.
Does the college have you blocked on Instagram as well, or just Facebook?
No, I think I know on Facebook.
Yeah, for sure Facebook. That's funny.
Can't
go after them on that accreditation.
Lost with it. Yeah, no, exactly.
God forbid.
But my Google tells me every 5 minutes that they appreciate my review of Howes Anderson College, and that thousands and thousands and thousands of people have seen it or something like that. It's ludicrous.
I want to read that review. What is it?
Yeah.
What's is it? Are you talking about accreditation basically?
Yeah.
Nice. Good for you. I should leave you one too.
Right.
All right, we're gonna take. We have other things to talk about, but I want to hear this review if we can find it quickly because this is. And we have other stuff today, guys, to talk about that's not entirely cult related, but we are gonna get into that.
Here's the review stuff right here, right?
So
4.1.
How do they have a 4.1? Wow.
See, we have a lot of students that are sitting there just like friendly. Here's mine.
Yeah.
Mine's at 2. Said the college.
Why'd you give them 2 stars?
It's because the college is unaccredited. So if at any point life happens and you don't find yourself solely employed by an IFB church, I wrote IBF church.
Oops. I think you can edit it.
Can't even fix that yet. By an IBF church, when you are mostly SOL. For many master's programs as well as limitations on employment, the goal of accreditation is to ensure that education provided by institutions of higher education meets acceptable levels of quality. HAC, please allow for the oversight needed to move into the 21st century, get accredited. So, anyways,
I'm not asking anything too crazy, just 21st century. Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, they notify me every time it's been like over 1,000 other people have viewed it, and it's just like tells me all the time that it's been reviewed. So whatever.
That's awesome. Good. So I'm glad you said your piece in a way that they can't get rid of it.
People's seeing it, yeah.
Lots of people.
Right.
So to take a break from that just for a moment.
Yeah, totally.
Since the last time that you were here, we've talked, here and there off and on. But what I know that you've done some work in real estate.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, how it's going for you, what you're doing, how the business is going.
Yeah, things are going pretty well right now. Been managing a Century 21 office, and then also been working with a lot of different clients and stuff like that. Sold new homes, old homes, tore up homes.
Yeah, I've seen your flipping. Yeah, that's
so
exciting.
There's a lot going on right now. It's really cool. It's very cool. All the amount of people I'm working with right now is really insane. But
that's
it's
terrific.
Awesome. Like, if you need help, I will help you.
John will. He's a good-hearted person. He loves to help. So, if I don't know, maybe I'm not trying to think like a buzzword or something, but flipping is really a popular thing. I think it's been popularized a lot by the TV shows that do it, where they have a ridiculous budget and unlimited amounts of time, and other crews besides the stars that go in and do the actual work.
Totally.
But what would you say to someone? Let's say there's someone that is looking into that, because I personally feel like it's a very entrepreneurial kind of thing, and it's something that, with the right amount of capital, in my opinion, you please correct me, but if I'm incorrect, but with the right amount of capital, I feel like capital and elbow grease, you can go in and you can really make a living out of flipping homes.
Yeah, you totally can. It's just a matter of taking the time of doing it and stuff like that. It also depends on the amount of oversight that it might take for the government area that you live in, because like, for instance, I did a home down in Baltimore, and I had to go through the historical association in order to be able to touch anything on the outside of the home. So I had to get approved for every single thing and what type of thing and what kind of siding was going on it, what the bricks looked like in the front.
Wow. So every
kind of
little
windows
thing that you
were
did.
on there. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, what the door was like and everything like that. So I had to go through that. So it just kind of matters where you are and what it is and what it's looking like. There's ways to get money regardless of your credit score, because most house flipping investors, as far as like money lending investors, are looking that you have a good deal. It's for X amount of dollars, and then it can sell for X amount of dollars. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, like I would. Sorry, go ahead.
Budget that can fit within that amount, and also give you some room to have a profit and stuff like that. So you can get money. I don't care if your credit score is a -5. Like if you find a good deal, you can get. Most of the time, you can get a loan on it if you ask enough hard money lending people. So
gotcha. I guess the difference in as far as like your profit margin is what I would call it. Kind of like the way I equate it is watching Shark Tank a little bit here and there, and they want to know like, okay, you make this product for $40 and you sell it for $50. We're not going to invest in you because there's no profit margin.
Yeah, exactly.
You make it for $5 and you sell it for $25.
Right.
Cool. We'll
if you're great at finding deals, then you can get investment all day long. People will invest in you.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh, I found a $90,000 house, I'm gonna spend $5,000 to fix it up, and then I'm gonna sell it for $100,000. You're off of your rocker, because it's not gonna work. Because just imagine the real estate fees of 2.5% off of that, and on both sides. Let's say you listed it. So what is that, like $5,000?
Yeah, then you're already out.
Already out, and then
plus
the gas
all the other fees
around,
your overhead.
I mean, so
what would you say? We can't break them all down right now, but like the fees associated with purchasing and selling. Were you really surprised by what you ran into there? Was there a whole lot more than you thought?
It always is more than you think
Really?
it is. That's why you need to estimate almost $40,000 per deal of like possible potential profit. If you have less than $40,000 of potential profit, you better be crossing your T's and dotting your I's and making sure everything's perfect before you walk the door. Otherwise, you are going to get super screwed.
That's a very specific, significant number. The 40,000, I'm saying.
I would say at least that.
Okay.
I mean, I would even aim for 60, 70, 80,000, $100,000 of possible potential profit. That way, if you dump money into the place, that you'll be able to get it back. Also, you have to make sure that the area is selling for a certain amount of dollars. Like I did one.
So you need to do your market research on that block or that
particular
town.
block. Yeah, like one I did earlier this year. Actually sold last month. I knew that properties down the street were selling for $214,000.
Okay.
Before that, they weren't selling for that, but there was two houses that sold down the street within the last 3 months that went for 214. So I knew that if I put mine up for, like, I didn't hardly fix this place up at all, but like
Right.
it sold for like around 179.
Nice.
But because I knew that the value was there in the area, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
So
it does.
knowing your area's values, which is a lot easier to research and find out nowadays, is really important. Also having built-in possible potential profit built into your deal matters, knowing that ahead of time, and then also knowing how much are you want to spend on this place, and then going in and saying, hey, this is what needs to be fixed, and this are things that there's things that you can fix. You can fix everything. You can put gold-plated toilet seats on everything. Right. But the thing is, what actually needs to be fixed that somebody will buy for,
right?
And what are things that you don't need to fix?
Kind of necessity and functional stuff, and then
right.
Not necessarily necessity or
right. Like this place that
the water's running.
Right. The water's running, and the water heater's working. You know, the heat system's working. Like this place didn't have an HVAC system; it had a radiator system in it. So I didn't put an HVAC system in it because it would cost me $10,000.
Right.
But somebody may just because the radiator heat's coming back as like a popular thing for certain people.
Really?
That are into it. Yeah.
Is it like a rustic kind of thing? Is that what
it's a rustic thing? Okay. But also it's not drying your air out in your house because it just has, you know, water running through pipes and heating up metal stuff, and then it's warming your house up. You know. So it's just a different form, but you're not getting that blown air.
Right,
that
right.
Makes sense.
I kind of like that. That makes sense.
Some people like it that way.
Especially if you have like some sinus issues or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a different format, and some people like it, and some people don't. Some people are like, ew, radiators, and other people are like, oh, yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the radiators.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of like building up and knowing your numbers, really. I mean, that's what the biggest part of it is. And it's about finding deals and doing the research and going out there and finding where those deals are. And you've got to jump in to be able to do it at all. Just sitting on there and watching TV and HGTV is not going to get you involved.
It's not going to sell any houses for us?
No.
Come on, John.
I mean, and it might be good for you to also, like, if you're thinking about doing this, to get your real estate license so you can kind of experiment and see other people, what they're doing and how they're doing it, and kind of learn. Another great thing really is to just go to home inspections. If you know a realtor that can get you in on going to, or call a home inspector and ask if you can be their assistant. That's going to be my question. Was like, just go to the source itself. Go to a home inspector and watch them and see how they handle houses and what's going on, and read inspection reports and see what's getting screwed up, and what needs to be fixed, and how they're handling it, stuff like that. That's such a valuable information. It'll help you learn a ton about houses just watching a home inspector, you know. So would you say that'd be a good place to start? Like if you're sitting there and you're thinking, and I know this is kind of off subject from what I usually do, but if someone's sitting there and they're thinking, man, I really, or I've already been thinking I really want to do it, what's my first step? Would you say a good first step is trying to find a local home inspector and let them work with you? Or if you know someone that's a home inspector, try. Yeah, I would say that's not the best first step. I mean, the best first step is just to I would say a good step is to go and get involved in the real estate business somehow, whether that's you go and follow an appraiser around, you follow a home inspector around, follow a realtor around. With their permission, don't just, Yeah, I mean, you don't stalk somebody, but going and just jumping into the business somehow and kind of understanding the different idiosyncrasies of the business. Sure. Whether it's from title, attorney work, or there's all kinds of different spaces. Lenders are able to get in the business and stuff too. Just getting yourself in the business and kind of acclimating yourself to it is really, really going to help. Get that foot in the door. Right. There's real estate investor meetups throughout the country and stuff like that. Those are really great to go to because they can teach you a bunch about it. Watch a bunch of YouTube videos. I would not pay for a whole lot of schooling on this. Because just your realtor's license, basically. Just get your realtor. If you get your realtor's license, that's great. You know, go become a realtor if you can. Because if you can make money off of, let's say you made 2.5% off of a $400,000 house. Right. That's around $10,000 of total commission. It's a couple months. That may be what some flippers are making off of flipping a whole entire house. They worked for 6 months on a property.
If they misjudge something.
After everything, they may only make $10,000, and you can make that off of just helping somebody go buy a house. So why not do both? Do flipping stuff and also help people buy houses. I mean, that's why I diversify my income, is because I'm managing a company, I'm managing an office, I'm also helping people buy and sell houses, and I'm also doing flipping, so I've got the cash flow coming in regardless of whether or not my flip's sitting there for a month or a year or whatever.
You still have your income coming in.
Exactly.
One thing I want to say, and I've mentioned it before, but I will never pass up an opportunity to mention this, and we both agree 100% on being screwed as far as an education is concerned, especially as far as House Anderson College is concerned. But I do like to make the point, I've had you on, of course John Warden several times, Mike Sadlowski more recently, and I'm trying to think, John Bannister. All of us, and I'm not trying to say that I'm balling, because I'm certainly not, but we're doing okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that more recently things have been, taking off for especially the real estate market.
Yeah.
But I always like to point out when I have the opportunity, not like, oh, well, see, it's okay that House Anderson didn't give us. No, that's bullshit. We should have gotten an accredited degree. I will never change my mind on that. But I like the idea, or not the idea, but the fact that we found a way to make it work.
Right.
And I do feel, and I wouldn't say I don't know why, I do know why, but I reiterate this often because I think it's important for those who are either in the transition of trying to escape from the IFB or have escaped and like, oh shit, what do I do now? Like, it's all fucked. Like, it's not.
Right.
Because if you've been in the IFB long enough, and I don't like giving the IFB credit, and I don't think it's them, I think we're endowed with our own whatever oomph we have from birth.
Your inalienable rights.
Word. Something just fell.
Oh, no.
In my studio here.
Mystery studio.
But I like bringing up the fact that we're working really hard. It's not like, oh, this success just fell into my lap. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
We're working our asses off, but we're finding success.
Right.
And so even though, there's a lot of people that have cards that stacked against them a lot tougher than us, but still we had a lot stacked against us coming into real life.
Right.
And coming into real life from that background, very, very sheltered, very backward, very not equipped to be in the real business world. You think about how ludicrous, I'm going to go on a tangent really quick.
Go for it.
How ludicrous it was during college for so many people to try to find a career, because between ministry work and school, just school alone, you listen to college students now talk about just going to a regular, what we call secular college, and working part or full-time. That's plenty. That's a lot. That's enough. But then you add into that the ministry stuff that we were involved in, which was night and day, most especially during the weekend, and somehow we managed to make it work. Being that taxed and working that hard, I really think plays into when it comes into coming into the real workforce and saying, like, look, I've done this, I've done that, I can figure it out, I can manage it, I wasn't taught the skills because there wasn't much teaching going on, but I learned the skills, during that time when I had to just multitask everything, try to, on 3 hours of sleep. So I get 8 hours a night, I can still be a success in the business world, no problem. So, and I'm not saying me personally, although I feel like I've achieved a level of success, but, it's just, it's great to see people like you and others that have a similar background finding a way. It may not be what we started out thinking it was going to be. It may be a completely different vertical, but we still found a way to succeed. And I applaud you for that. And I applaud all of us for that found a way. And I like to bring that up to encourage those that are trying to get out or halfway out or maybe thinking about it, that it is big and scary out there. That's the truth. I won't ever say it's not. But you can make it. You can do this.
Yeah, of course.
I believe 100%.
It's just a matter of finding the industries that are not necessarily going to, like, throw you under the bus because you act, live, or look, or do something a certain way, like I'm totally out at work, like people know, it's not like there's some sort of like giant mystery, and also that with the people that I'm helping, like nobody's asking me what the H I'm doing at night, or they're busy wanting their house done and sold, or helping them get purchased or negotiating contracts and stuff like this. Like it's never about like this. It doesn't even come up. You know what I mean?
No.
So
that's not how the real world works.
That's what's great about it, Yeah. And it's great because I work with some like amazing like former military guys and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And we can joke around that like I'm gay and stuff like that, and different stuff that you know that they totally know, and like it's really cool, you know.
It's not a problem for them.
It's not a problem for them.
Yeah.
And they're like, one of my friends at work is like, he's like, why do people get upset about this? You know what I mean? Like, if it's just it boggles their minds, you know.
Well,
so.
Speaking to that, we'll transition. There was one little thing I was trying to get on, and I completely lost my train of thought. It's whatever. It'll come back up, I'm sure. But in speaking to that, I think I want to transition to our next subject, which is, and I've run into some stuff for forever, ever since I've started this podcast and been open about the fact that I don't condemn someone for their sexuality. That's a huge thing for the IFB. And by the way, if you're just coming into this, this is the first time you've seen Not Your Mother's podcast. The IFB is the Independent Fundamental Baptist Movement, and it is a sect of Christianity, albeit more on a line with just purely Baptist, not so much Christianity. Because I think a funny thing is a lot of Baptists like call themselves Christians, but that's such a wide swath.
Right.
You've got Catholics in there, you've got Methodists and Lutherans and all this jazz. Oh, we're Christians. Maybe just say Baptist, because Christians, a lot of them won't associate with you because you're crazy.
Yeah, right.
Not you, them. So IFB, they can't deal. They cannot. There's a lot of things they can't handle. Like, they can't handle a woman wearing pants, right? Like, that's a huge problem. They can't handle rock and roll music. It's a huge problem. You can't handle. So a lot of them can't handle. Excuse me, southern gospel music. Even that's too much for them. Right. So, but being gay, having an alternative sexual lifestyle, as it's been called, like, that is something that they just cannot deal with. They can't get past it. And it's funny because I remember having that mindset a long time ago, and I remember a friend of mine. It wasn't you, it was someone else I went to college with. Adam Billingsley. Yeah. I don't know if I ever mentioned him by name on the podcast before, but I think I mentioned this story. I remember, so I knew Adam in college, and we were friends, we were close.
Good friends with Adam.
Yeah, Adam's great, I love Adam.
Yeah, he's a great spirit.
We were really good friends, sweet guy. Really good friends. And then sometime after college and after I had left the work I was doing in the ministry in Michigan, I found out that he was gay. And we did we had some phone calls and did some business talks and things like that. I was trying to assist him with social media for his business. And I remember getting off the phone with Adam and thinking about the fact that, oh, he's gay. Right. And then I thought again about it, and I was like, yeah, so? Right. This is the same guy that, I went to his house, which was against the rules, not because he was gay, but because he was an off-campus student. Yeah. Went to his house and sat in his basement and watched, me and Gavin, I think, or maybe Todd, watched one of the Bourne movies in his basement. Right. I remember that very well. Yeah. And again, other memories as well. Like, we were close, we were good friends. I'd like to think we were close. And that's the same person. That's what bugged me when I got off the phone, was like, something in my mind started me rethinking things. Like, just because he's gay doesn't mean he's not the same person that I was friends with years ago, and I sat in his basement and watched that movie, and we had some good times. Right. He's still the same person. Right. So just because I find out that he likes men, and I don't like men in a sexual way, or in a romantic way, I should say, that was crude, that doesn't make him a different person or a bad person at all. Right. It makes him different than me, but he was already different than me. He was born different than me. Right. And that's okay.
Yeah, I was even listening to like a video this week of like a family that was kicking their kid out of the house because they said that the kid was gay, and they were kicking him out as an older teenager. Basically.
Seriously?
Seriously. And the thing is that like the mom said that he knew that this kid was gay since she was like 5 or something like this. And it's like...
But now it's a problem.
But now it's a problem or something like that. It was like, lady, like, what planet are you on?
Yeah,
like,
and that's your own son.
Yeah, and you were like, you've known this kid is gay since he was 5, and now you're kicking him out because he is gay, and you're like, that's some sort of, like, news flash for you or something like this. You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous.
It's so weird.
It's sad. Like, to me, it's ridiculous, and I'll get outraged about it very easily, especially on social media. But like it's sad that people will do this to their own family members. They're not just and I don't make allowance for you're not my family member, so it's okay if I'm mean to you because you're gay. Well, that's not okay either. Yeah. But it's especially ridiculous if it's a sibling, a relative of some sort. I just find that beyond ludicrous that you would decide that, well, this is the breaking point. I can't be your friend anymore because, you know, this religion that I ascribe to and a couple verses that I can pull out of context, because of that, I can't be your friend and I can hate you. So that's the more extreme version of it.
Right. I think what the thing is that, like, so many people just know, like, so many people that I grew up with and in the IFB or IBF.
IBF. I was about to say that.
Checking my review.
We'll have to edit that after
this. So many people don't acknowledge what the reality is because, like the song says, that someday we're gonna have real life or something like this.
Oh, yes, yeah.
We'll have real life someday.
Yes.
Because this is a fake life. We're not living in reality.
Real.
This is all fake.
We gotta store up treasures in heaven or something.
Yes.
I wish I remembered verses better.
Which is totally cool. Store those treasures.
Store that shit.
But the thing is, like, this is real life too, though.
Yes.
And so many people are like, they keep shoving the fact that somebody is gay or they're having this problem or this issue, they keep shoving under the rug, and then all of a sudden, like, it doesn't actually become reality until they swept it under the rug so many times that all of a sudden there's literally a whole human body under the rug, and then they finally figure out that, oh my God, there's another person in your life. I can't believe that would possibly happen. I've known you've been gay since you were 5. But now we don't want to ever meet this other person because you're gay and they're gay and we don't know how to possibly handle or deal with, you know, being nice to another normal person like you're nice to your daughter-in-law or your son-in-law. But now if you have another person in your kid's world that's gay, then you can't possibly meet them or be around them, because that would be you somehow condoning their relationship, as though you, like, being around your son-in-law or daughter-in-law or your kid's boyfriend or girlfriend is somehow condoning all their relationships. How many parents don't necessarily like the fact that their kids are dating whoever it is, but you don't necessarily...
Not just gay, it all kinds, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that comes in all forms.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can't... me somehow allowing you into my house or talking to you and getting you to know who the fuck my kid's dating is somehow condoning your dating situation. It's absolutely bonkers to me.
Would you say that's kind of a tipping point then? Like, not... not the 5-year-old or not some tendencies or not some counseling or therapy, but when you bring home or attempt to bring home,
I've seen
on Facebook in different places where that has been, and not my personal observation, but like just here and there. I saw a friend of mine, Evan, posted something about it the other day. Like, bringing that person home is a huge tipping point.
Yeah, for a lot of people, because the parents can't handle that, because it's actually when reality's hitting the fan, and here's your kid that, like, it's not just a phase. They actually are dating somebody else.
That's of the same gender.
Somebody else of the same gender or whatever, transgender or whatever you are. Like, it really hits the fan at that point. And so,
why? I mean, I know I'm sure it's somewhat impossible to quantify, but why do you think that is? Maybe because it's finally something from the outside and they've just known you, even though they knew you were gay or different, however they want to describe it.
Right.
The bringing someone from the outside that wasn't inclusive this entire time, that's kind of the shock for them.
Right.
That's why, you think?
I think it's a shock. I think it's just like the
or the denial. The denial, they can't deny it anymore. It's impossible now.
Right. Like, the physical reality of your fake story has now become completely opposite to what you wanted.
Yeah.
And so you made up that your kid's this is just a phase, and they're just talking about this stuff. And then finally, like, Bob shows up with Billy, and you're like, what's going on?
What's going on, Bob?
Bob and Billy, and like, oh, you're gay now, and we don't want to acknowledge the fact that you guys are sleeping together and you're being sexual with each other. And even if they were like the waiting until marriage type of gays, which they're out there.
Okay.
Once you meet this other person, it totally blows your story out of the water, and so your fake film that you have in your head is totally gone. And so many people freak the fuck out when that happens.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to waste time, but I also want to reiterate just a little bit, because last time we had you on, you had talked about that fake story, and I don't want to take
as much time as we did last time, but just a little bit of time, and just say, maybe speak to that a little bit, because if I remember right, what you're talking about is parents, relatives, people that are in the IFB, or for whatever religion or for whatever weird old American traditions they have, they cannot handle the fact that you are, that you're gay, that you have an alternative lifestyle. And so they've created this false narrative around who you really are and what you're really about. And it serves them in their mind, not in reality, in their mind, to say like, okay, everything's okay, and I have the picture perfect white fence because I decided that John was just going through a phase, or I decided that, you know, we sent John away to this home and now he's all better, kind of thing.
Right.
Does that kind of sum that up, or was there more to add to that?
I mean, that's kind of what it is that that people are making and creating stories. Everyone's got a dream and a hope for their kid. It doesn't matter. I mean, people have dream and hopes for their dogs and cats. I mean, they hope that their dog and cat's not going to fucking pee on the floor. And it does.
It's a great dream.
It comes and, like, throws up in your lap after it ate too much food. And you're like, oh, God, I wish that, you know, Sandy the cat would not puke on the carpet every 5 minutes. But Sandy does, you know? And you're just, like, totally blown away that it happened, you know? And you're like, oh, God, like, it's a freaking animal in your house. Like, it's going to puke and it's going to poop.
It's gonna happen.
And when you have a gay kid, guess what? They're going to bring another dude home if they're a dude, and they're going to bring another female home if they're a female.
Yeah.
And you could, like, sit there and, like, hope and pray and wish all day. And you know what? This is the whole thing that comes down to, is that in your story creation, that if God is going to fix these people, that he will do it in his time and not on your time. And also, for a gay person, I can't control the fact that God is in control of me.
Yeah.
And that if he's going to fix me, he's going to fix me when he's ready, not because I decided that I'm
fixable now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I went and got braces to fix my teeth because that's what I wanted, because this one over here was going ba-ba over this way. But the thing is like, in your insides, I don't get to, God doesn't give us the opportunities to just like change our desire sets in our bodies just because we decided to.
Thank you.
So everyone out there that likes strawberry jelly right now, I'd like you for today to please stop liking strawberry jelly. We're going to make a law that you're not allowed to like strawberry jelly.
What can we like, John?
You can't like strawberry jelly, okay? And so I don't care what you like. You can't. You just
not
can't like.
jelly.
You cannot like strawberry jelly. You're not allowed to eat it. We're gonna make a law now that you're not allowed to eat strawberry jelly. So you've not eaten strawberry jelly. You had it when you were 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then all of a sudden you're not allowed to have it now because we wrote an entire book about how you're not supposed to have it.
Yes.
And we also made laws that you're not supposed to have it. And so then all of a sudden, your like for strawberry jelly is going to magically go away because we told you not to, and it's just going to not happen.
It's going to disappear.
It's going to disappear.
Perfect
we wrote
world.
a book.
Yeah.
We wrote a book, and we made a law, and we told you not to.
And now we're
all
good.
Of a sudden, and then you're all good. And all of a sudden,
fine.
your like for strawberry jelly is just magically disappears.
Not, as Borat would say.
And so, like, yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, you're still 85, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when I had strawberry jelly. I still like that stuff, but you shouldn't like it. And so yes, you can control your behavior. You don't have to partake. I totally understand that.
Yes.
But the desire sets the desire sets that are in your world, and also it's also about being honest with other people. Like my parents are like, go marry this girl and like, or go back and get with your wife and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great. That's really nice for you to have your picture perfect thing, your story going on. But it's not me. And also, what about her too? Like, is she allowed to be with somebody that actually is into her, that wants to throw her on the bed and fuck her? Yeah, she's allowed to have that, and that's what she wants. And then when you're with a gay dude that doesn't necessarily want to do that, but
that sucks to be her.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So she doesn't like feeling that, and that's unfair to her. And then meanwhile, you've got Christian parents that are like, oh, you should totally do it. And then you've got gay Christian guys that are marrying girls that they're going out and sleeping with dudes on the weekends.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be at home Monday through Friday, taking care of their wife and taking care of their kids, and it happens all the time. And it's not fair to women that are married to gay guys, and it's not fair to lesbian women who are married to straight guys and that aren't into it at all. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine.
It happens all the time. I've seen it happen this year with somebody. Like,
that's sad.
it is what it is. You just have to let it be.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I agree. That would make sense. I like that you're coming at it, and I like that you're coming at it from both sides instead of like, well, marriage sucks. If you're married to a woman and you're a gay dude, like, no, it sucks for every. In that situation, it sucks for both parties, or if you have kids, the children as well. Like, it sucks for everyone except for your parents or your relatives that have. Oh, now we have this picture perfect family that works at the church or attends the church or whatever, and they're both miserable as fuck, and they're possibly fucking other people. But on the outside, the image looks great, and
looks great.
I don't preach anymore, but I could 100% preach a whole fucking series on how your image, while I understand its importance, is not that fucking important.
Exactly.
It's just not. Your image, this is it right here. Your image is never more important than your happiness.
Yep.
Never more important than your happiness.
I hear you on that.
I don't think... I think I've said some things here and there on the podcast that I really liked, but I don't think I've said anything that I liked that much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see, and it takes, I think it takes a long time, especially if you're coming from a religious or an IFB background, to get to that mindset. But to come to the place where you understand that, look, what's more important to me, what everyone at that church thinks of me, or what everyone at my family thinks of me, or what everyone at my job site thinks of me, or how do I feel about me?
Exactly.
And it's a cliche thing, looking at yourself at the mirror at the end of the day, but that's the truth. At the end of the day, and if a belief in God exists, that's all good and fine, as long as your God isn't angry and trying to fuck other people up or fuck you up, great, do it. But at the end of the day, you can believe in a God and a spirit world and all that, and I'm not sure where I land on that, but at the end of the day, I don't see anyone else in that bathroom when I look in my studio here.
In your studio, yeah.
But I don't see anyone else. I don't see anyone else there.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I'm really tripping. But, like, I don't see anyone else but me in that mirror. And I got to look at me and say, am I happy with today? Am I happy with me? Yes or no?
Right. And IFB is super duper, like, megaton on looking the right way and having the right image.
Yes.
Like, I think I told you about before that I got fired from UPS, and I sat there through the whole entire thing because I was so afraid of making Hiles Anderson College look bad. And I was afraid that they were gonna die. People were gonna die and go to hell because people were gonna look bad. Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to like totally get thrown under the bus about the circumstance, but like there's so much crazy stuff that happens. And there's so many like sexual things that don't get brought up because what about the ministry? And we can't possibly
can't sacrifice
brother blank 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 get in trouble for touching the girls or the boys because
it's going to hurt our inner city ministry.
It's going to hurt
the bus kid ministry.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Something's not going to go the right way without this person in
Fall
there.
program's going to get thrown off because brother so and so can't run his bus route. No, fuck that. Like he goes to prison. That's it.
Yeah, it's there's so much that's based off of. And it rolls back into the Leah Remini thing with the whole Scientology about how they're supposed to guard all the looks of everything. If you said anything bad about anybody, they would bring it back up to you and also have this what is it, the disconnection kind of thing or whatever, which happens in IFB circles. Literally, my sister will not talk to me right now.
That's so sad.
Because I can't tell. One sister's told me that she thinks that it's because I was mean or something like this.
No,
but it's because I'm gay. Like
it's not,
like there's
no two ways about that.
There's no 2 ways about it. And like I still love her, and I will like open arms here. Like love is coming at you from my angle. Love is not coming from her angle. Like I'm telling you right now, disconnection is not the answer, and it happens so many times. And there's so many people that are disconnected from both sides. There's gay people that disconnect from their families because they feel like their families are just totally shut them off and treat them like shit, okay? So I totally understand where you're coming from, but at the same point, like, you cannot think that you're going to be able to...
The disconnection isn't going to solve the problem.
The disconnection is not going to fix your issues.
And I wouldn't say problem or maybe even issues because it's not so much... from the perspective of the person who's being disconnected, I wouldn't say that's a problem or your problem. It's more your family's problem. They have to come to grips with it.
Right.
But like if you're causing the disconnection as the person who feels ousted or ostracized, I can't say that I would entirely blame you, but there's no way it's the answer.
Right. It's a lot better to choose love. Let me tell you right now, it is way better to choose love and come at it from a place of abundance. If you're not, if we're not coming from the place of abundance, we are super fucking and super screwing all of our relationships.
Absolutely.
And so if we don't come from that place, it's
open your arms.
It's gonna be messed. Yeah. It's gonna be really messed up. And that's the same thing as, like, I've heard about a pastor this last week that was like, oh, I need to quit the ministry or something like that, because of things that look bad because this kid's gay. You know, like, if you're in the IFB and you think that people are dying and going to hell and they need to be saved, and you think that because your kid's gay that you have to quit the ministry, you're telling me right there that you don't actually care about people dying to go into hell. The world needs to get saved and all that.
Here's the boat, and you missed it.
Right.
Like, really, like, again, I don't know, again, where I land on God and salvation and heaven and hell and eternity. But, yeah, like you said, if you're married to that, if that's your belief system, and someone's sexual orientation just throws it off entirely, even if that's your child, doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense
at all. So that means that people aren't dying and going to hell anymore. What's more important is that my child, my offspring, has come out of the closet, so to speak, in a rudimentary fashion. Like, that's what's more important than all these people that are dying and going to hell.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes,
no.
Exactly.
No.
Dicks and butts are way more important than people who are dying and going to hell,
the blood
and need baptism, and need the homeless ministry, and need the ladies' Bible study and the men's Bible study and the family, all that stuff goes out the window when D's and B's and V's and V's are mixing it up. Gotta just throw it all to the wind. Cancel it all today.
Yeah, cancel Jesus.
Cancel
Take
Jesus
care of your family. That's the end of the world somehow now.
Because if a V and a V hit each other, then the world is going to explode. Exactly.
Sodom and Gomorrah, you saw it happen.
Oh my God!
Don't get you started.
And the thing is, like, the Bible even says that Sodom and Gomorrah was ruined for its pride.
There you go.
And because they wouldn't help the poor and the needy, because they were too busy trying to make sure the V's weren't touching.
Right.
Bam.
I want to say something.
Sorry.
That's good. This is a very accurate visual illustration there, people, just so you know. Rewind it and watch it again.
Rewind it again.
If you want to know.
Bam. You know where the Big Bang came from?
Right there.
Now you know.
So, that's great. I want to say something, we're joking around, but on a more serious note.
What?
I don't think I'm that old. I'm 33 as of this recording of the podcast, and it'll definitely be aired before I'm 34. But, and again, it probably sounds cliche to anyone that's 34 or older, okay, I get it. But the older I get, the longer I'm around, the more I feel like, look, I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, you know, there quite possibly is an afterlife and a God, and there's other stuff going on, you know, after this life. But this life is going on right now.
Right.
This is happening right now. And cutting off your friends or your family, or allowing yourself to be the one that won't open that door or say that kind word or send that card or shoot that text or show up on that doorstep if you're wanted, of course.
I show up in it.
Just do it. Fuck it.
I do.
But I believe you. But just like you said, show love and open your arms. But man, we don't have that long. We really don't have that long.
Right.
And every time, and it happens, it doesn't happen daily, not even monthly, but at least annually. Someone in our circle or in our lives or in a circle that's close to ours or intersected with ours or in our family, we lose someone and we think, man, like we thought they were going to, or a celebrity or something, we thought, man, they were going to live. We thought they were going to live a lot longer. Even people that died that have lived a great, healthy life, who just died at 94, now I can't think of who it is, George H.W. Bush. And I'm not saying fan or not fan, but like when he passed, I thought, man, like I knew he was old, and in a wheelchair, but I didn't think he was gonna die already. Like we don't think about the fact that, yes, again, I understand the afterlife, I understand that to an extent, but you have right now, like, the fact that you'd be willing to cut off a relationship or lose a family member, and I'm not talking to someone that is coming out as gay. I'm more talking to the families that are cutting these people off. Like, man, you don't have that long, especially moms and dads.
Right.
Like, you don't have that long with your offspring. Why are you going to cut them off for something that it's not silly? Your sexual orientation isn't silly, but a reason for cutting someone off, it's very silly.
Right.
Why would you let that be the thing? I promise you, I fucking promise you right now, because I've seen them do it. I'll use an example. Jack Hiles and Dave Hiles.
Mm-hmm.
Jack stuck with Dave through, I won't get into it because I don't know who would come after me, but some crazy stuff.
Right.
Crazy.
Right.
Criminal sexual, all kinds of stuff. I promise you. If Dave had, and it wouldn't surprise me if he ever did, if Dave had come out as gay, Jack would have been done with him. Cut him off right there.
Yeah.
All his criminal and other activity, Jack stuck with him. Jack covered up for him. Jack moved him to a different state.
Right.
Why? Because that's not nearly as bad as being gay.
Right.
You could literally commit a crime and be locked away for the rest of your life, and some parents would say, "That's okay, I'm going to come visit you and send you cards and blah blah blah." But you come out as gay, and they will not talk to you.
Yeah.
And that's
so
weird. And that's probably insensitive to say with you sitting here, but I just don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it, and I don't know. I want to say, and it's true. It breaks my heart that families will be torn apart for something that simplistic and something that's it's not even necessary. Like, I don't know. I'm ranting now, and I'm probably not making much sense. But we don't have that long here. Just love each other while you're here, especially if you're related.
Right.
So, on that note, I won't take a lot of your time, but I recently had a discussion, shall we call it, on the Facebook with some people that are very much pro-IFB. And I'm not going to name off any names. I'm not going to do that because I want this podcast to be around a long time. I don't want to jeopardize that.
Right.
But I do want to read you some of the comments that were thrown at gay people, because I want your honestly, I want
about the Lauren Daigle thing.
Yes.
Cool.
I want your perspective, and the reason I want your perspective, one reason is in that thread, or maybe in another on my own page, I said that I'm gonna relay your message to my friends who are gay, and we'll see what they think, because they were very hateful messages. So, with your permission, of course, I'd like to read you. They're pretty caustic, but I'd like to read you a few of these.
Whoa, caustic.
Oh no, big words.
Yes.
So I'd like to read you a couple of these, see what you think.
Good.
But let me talk about the story really quick first, as far as what's going on. So Lauren Daigle, if you watch this podcast, I feel like you're going to know who Lauren is, but Lauren Daigle is a very, very popular Christian artist, and she's got an incredible voice. The girl's got pipes for days, I think. You actually know music, so maybe she doesn't know. But yeah, she has a huge following. She's got an amazing voice, and she recently performed on The Ellen Show, Ellen DeGeneres' TV show out here in LA. And so when she performed on the show, I don't know if there was necessarily backlash. I'm sure some churches there was, but there was an article that went out from a Christian publisher, and they just basically interviewed her, wanted to grill her about, like, well, you sing about Jesus, but then you sang on a gay person's show. What the heck, you know?
Right.
And the article was very pointed as to calling her out and saying, like, you know, why don't you say something? And Lauren's statement basically back was, which my opinion is, if she would get with Joel Osteen on this, he would help her, you know, sidestep. He sidestepped the whole hurricane. So if you can do that, you can help sidestep a solid question.
Right.
But her answer basically was, when they said, well, you performed on the show, how do you feel about gay people? Mm-hmm. And basically they're fishing for, like, tell us in the Bible where it says that, you know, it's an abomination. And she said, look, I'm not God, I can't say one way or the other. Not a great answer, but not a terrible answer. Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot worse answers. Yeah. So the person that posted this, and I'll read the post. I won't read the person's name. I think they have me blocked now. And I don't blame them. But the person that posted this said, it's sad. If you listen to what a lot of contemporary Christian artists believe, they don't line up with the Bible. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them. And the headline of the article is, Lauren Daigle shares her views on homosexuality, says, I can't say one way or the other, I'm not God. Honestly, nothing about that statement is untrue. She's not God, and she can say whatever she wants. Okay. So I get it. Let's see at this comment. So here's one comment. I think it's sad. Okay, so to just kind of set a little more background. So I posted this on my page, and then I went back and looked at the comments here, and I did jump in and say a few things. So some of what we're going to read is response to what I had to say. Clearly what I had to say did not align with what these people were talking about. A lot of hate speech over there. And a lot of people telling me after they finish their hate speech that I should be more loving and accepting after they finished hating on people who were of a different skin color than me and who were of a different sexual orientation. Anyways, love the sinner, hate the sin. They want to say that all the time. And then they, instead of saying love or whatever, they say accept. Like, I'm not okay with their sin, but I accept them. So let me just do this really quick. This is what blew my mind. Sorry, I had a hiccup there. I'm probably going to delete some of that last bit. The thing that got me was, how do you play that out in real life? How do you say to someone, John, I really love you, but I don't accept you for who you are. And I said that in that thread, like, how do you in your mind, whether you say it or not, you look at them and you think, man, I love this person, but I can't accept them for who they are.
Right.
That's just fucked up.
Right. How
can you, as a normal human being person, in your mind justify that? I don't understand that.
Right.
I know I'm being very direct with this, but it's just mind-boggling to me.
Right.
And to be fair, I was that person for a long time, but in reality, I never did that.
Mm-hmm.
I never said in my mind, like, I love them and I love them and I hate their sin. I love them, but I don't accept their sin. Like, no, I couldn't stand them because they were wicked and they were an abomination.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there are people, I'm getting really spirited here, I need to bring it down. Do you think there are people that can actually divorce the two and they can actually say, no, I really do love that person, but I don't accept them for who they are? I feel like those are synonymous.
I think you're really digging really deep right now. But it's like, if you love somebody, you're not worried about whether they're sinning or not.
That's very simple. Yes.
And that's just the plain thing. So love the sinner, hate the sin. You weren't told to hate
to God.
You weren't told to hate the sin, were you? Was there some place where we were told to hate sin?
That's good. God, that's good. That's so good. Yes.
No,
there's not.
I'm trying to remember where we were like told to hate sin, but maybe it's in there somewhere and I'm missing it. But
sure.
Like, if you're gonna actually love, because John says that Jesus came to love the world, that the world through him might be saved. It didn't say that you're supposed to come in here and hate a certain amount of sins in order for God to have love on people. And like, also if Jesus is out hanging out with the sinners and publicans and you think he's fucking cool for doing that, and then you're too good to hang out with people that you think are sinners,
that doesn't line up.
It doesn't really add up a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, Jesus is this really cool bro, and everyone's like, yeah, he was fucking awesome. But then they don't ever do anything that he did. Like, because you can only possibly hang out with the nicest kids, and the best outfits that all got an honor roll this week at church school.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
you're right.
But then, like, the kids that are rowdy and crazy and driving everybody nuts and everything, that God loves those people just as well. And we all have those, like, that we all have problems. We all have we are all codependent a little bit. We're all a little bit narcissistic. We've all got things issues in our world.
That's so good. We're all a little codependent. We're all a little narcissistic. Some of us more than others. Some of us less than others. But we're humans. That's what we are. We're flawed.
Right, exactly. So allow yourself to be human and allow other people to be human too. That's the thing. That's again, like we said, when we come to the world with like no abundance and we only have when we have a limited supply of whatever it is, then we treat everybody like shit. And so that's why we need to come to the world saying, you know what, God's given me all the amount of love, and God loves me no matter how much he's been hurt by me or how much God hates my sin, which we always say that, like, God loves you no matter what you've done, and we sing the song Just As I Am, but we don't really mean it, because we can only love other people just as we want them to be, not just as they are.
That's so good. No, that is a beautiful quote. We can only love others as we want them to be, not just as they are.
Right.
And like you said, if you're really embodying the scripture, the New Testament at least, and the teachings of Christ, then people get to come as they are. But in an IFB church, you really don't. And
it's not even. It doesn't exist.
To be fair, there's bus ministry and all that jazz. Like, you can wear whatever clothes you want, but at some point you've got to change. You've got to see that Jesus, if you're a girl, wants you to wear a dress that goes to a certain length, and that there shouldn't be a slit in it, or if it is, it should only be so long. And if you're a fellow, you better not wear shorts, or if you do wear shorts, it has to be a certain length. Whatever it is, like.
And the IFB is straight up pointed at blessings culture, which is the prosperity doctrine, and that's why you need to dress like us, because God's not blessing you in your poor state, and that's why we go to the poor people, is because that they can somehow get in this line of, like, the ladder that's propped up, so we can step up, so you can get all these blessings, so you can be like, these people at the top that are running the church and the college that are wealthy and they're doing all these things. They've got a nice car and a nice house and a nice wife that looks like a dude, and and
literally 8 times out of 10.
Literally, yeah, exactly. And
I'm thinking, what's funny is
I don't
when you
even
said
go
that. No. I thought of 3 right off the
I
top
know,
of my head.
just like ding, ding,
not
ding.
hard.
It's like
that was not hard to do.
Right. It's like you're at the casino right now. Like name 3 pastors' wives who looks like a dude. All right,
all right, jackpot.
Jackpot. You won. You know, but it's all right. It's okay
true.
if you look at a dude. I'll let it be.
Will you allow it, John?
We'll allow it. So
sorry, I got you off track. But it's an MLM via Jesus.
It's
what it is.
MLM via Jesus, and then we're going and talking to these people in these poor African nations or down in some like awful place in Mexico, you know, that's
or
just
Michigan,
like,
same thing.
or Michigan, Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah, if you come to Jesus and you dress this way and you get in line with everybody else, then somehow you're gonna magically get to this wonderful spot where you're gonna live in the mansion that Jesus prepared for you here on earth. And then you're gonna have millions of dollars in the bank, and then all this stuff's gonna come true. All your wildest dreams come true. It's basically Disney on steroids, but you put the word Jesus in front of it.
Yeah, Jesus, Disney on steroids.
It is exactly.
Do you mind? I know it's getting
more,
late. John,
some more things.
I want to take a pause for a second just to say thank you because John's time zone, it's past midnight right now, and he's just powering through this shit. So thank you. no, don't look at it.
Oh yeah,
9:12.
It's 12:12.
Yeah, 12:12. But
I'm alive.
I want to say I'm grateful. Thank you for doing. He's had a long day. The dude fucking traveled all day, and he was gracious enough to still be here and still be doing this. So so now let me read you some more hate speech.
Give me some more.
So this person said, Stuart, your arguments are ludicrous. The list of things that what God thinks homosexuals is as long as your arm, which that's not a long list, and I'm short. None are PC and are very clear that it is a sin and against nature. I'm sorry, the grammar's really rough. Which is par for the course. It looks to me, this is my honest opinion, that just like it says in the Bible, God's word, that God has given you over to reprobate mind. I think that's me.
Yeah.
I in no way hate you, but pray for. You are destroying yourself. Please read your Bible. Pray for forgiveness and wisdom. God will your prayers and forgive you and restore. Oh my God. Anyways, the list of things that God thinks homosexuals is as long as your arm. None are PC and are very clear that it is a sin and against nature. Again, it was difficult to read this because of the grammar, but I guess my question would be, there's a lot of things in the Bible, and there's a lot of weird things in the Bible, and there's a lot of abstract things in the Bible. But as far as bringing up homosexuality, I feel like, and I don't even like to call it that, being gay, I feel like Acts is about it for the New Testament. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
Romans 1 is really the biggest clobber.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yes.
Clobber passages. But then also, like...
Wait, what did you call it?
Clobber. Clobber. Like, you clobber somebody with a...
Wham!
Like a wham-bam
right.
thing, you know what I mean?
Thank you, man.
But then Romans 1 is all about idol worship. Like, if you're seeing that, and, like, I don't know how many, like, 7-year-old gay kids are out worshiping idols this week. They don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And also to hear parents tell, my mom told me that she knew I was going to have a problem with being gay since I was 5 or 6 or something like this.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, because I was running around at 5 or 6 when I was trying to find orange candy pumpkins from my teacher in kindergarten, trying to figure out what dicks were. Because I didn't even know what the hell it was. So I don't even know what that is. Like, but you knew about it though. And somehow I was choosing this, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just insane. We'll go back to, we were talking about the verses. Oh, the whole point of this is the only reason people, in my opinion, the reason people bring up the fact that the gays and all this is so bad is because it's just a deflection. It's a us versus them mentality.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the whole point of it. It has nothing to do with it actually, like, because otherwise you would start segregating the fact that you have fat people in your congregation.
Yeah, gluttony's a sin.
That you
look at the pastors behind the pulpits.
I know.
Come on, man.
Sorry.
Come on.
I mean, if you're actually going to start segregating people for their
sins or their degrees of sin.
Degrees of sin. I mean,
well, let's go to this
the Bible
one.
talks about mixed clothing and whether or
Yeah.
not you have two forms of. Also talks about planting crops in two kinds in one field. That happens all the time.
It's pretty common.
Yeah.
If you've been to the
Especially
Midwest,
if you go to the organic vegetable place, you're gonna get like two crops in one field.
All kinds of crop dusting going on.
Right.
Well, let's look at this one then. There is what's the one? So someone in this thread was talking to me about sins don't have classifications, just homosexuality. I'm like, no, there's a sin unto death. That's a big one, and there's grieving the Holy Spirit, which I think might be one and the same. But here's the thing. But in the Bible, in the New Testament, I believe, grieving the Holy Spirit is a big sin. Like, that's a high ticket item. How do I know? So I know if you're gay because I can look at your Facebook or I can see who you hang out with, and not in a derogatory way. It's just I know. You know if I'm straight because you see me with a girl. You saw me with a girl today. I'm straight. So the thing is, that's very evident. Tell me how you know if someone grieved the Holy Spirit. No, and neither of us are going to get all pastoral. Like, well, the Lord showed me. No, fuck that. Like, really, how can you tell if someone grieved the Holy Spirit? You can't.
I think that okay.
Oh no, you gave me the wrong answer, John.
I think that I know you can't tell if somebody's grieved the Holy Spirit. All right, and maybe Jesus actually did what he said that maybe Jesus actually. So if you believe the Bible and believe God's all powerful and everything, like we'll follow you down the vein. All right,
yeah, let's go.
If that is the case, then did Jesus save the whole world when he came to save the world, or was that just a little piece of the world, the piece that you like, the piece that only goes to your church, the piece that said the prayer that you said, or did Jesus actually save the whole world, or maybe they used the wrong language there, and we need to go back and figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe we interpreted what the world meant. Maybe it was for only the swim club. Maybe it was
just the 44,000.
Yeah.
Or 144,000. Yeah. It's been too long since I read my Bible.
Yeah.
Let me read you a couple more, and we'll see what we get. While we can choose to love the people we don't agree with, we don't have to tolerate sin. We should not want to have anything to do with it. We are called to live a life separated. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't love them, treat them with respect. I'm not speaking in shunning or ignoring or insulting anyone who doesn't live the same lifestyle. That is definitely how we should live as Christians, but we also should not have to accept or tolerate it. Everyone has free will to live how they want, but I know that my desire is to honor the Lord and stand for him on his word and his truths, not my own. Even when it goes against the grain. Number one, it should never go against the grain. Number two, don't talk to me about accepting and Has anyone ever come up to you and said, "Hey, you know what, John? I tolerate you," and you were like, "Man, thank you so much for tolerating me.
Yeah,
that's
doing
terrific."
Good.
Or me either. Like anyone ever. Has anyone ever had someone come up to them? You out there, comment, weigh in. Have you ever had anyone come up to you and say, "Man, you know what? I tolerate the shit out of you." You're like, "You know what? I respect that.
I'm really tolerating."
Thanks for tolerating me.
Yes.
If you just tolerate me, don't talk to me. I don't want to hear from you if all you do is, I'm not necessarily mad at you, although I sound like it. Like, if all you're doing is tolerating me, then go away. Like, why are you even talking to or about me? Just tolerating me is not enough. Not on a spiritual level, not on a biblical level, on a human base level. We shouldn't just be tolerating. And I'm not saying love everybody. Like, you can't love everybody. It's just not going to happen. That's a ridiculous construct. However, saying that, I care for these people, but I just only tolerate them, to me that sounds like not true.
Let's dig into the statement. It says, while we can choose to love the people we don't agree with, we don't have to tolerate sin. So let's just choose let's talk about what love means for a second. Like, even in the Bible, it says that love covers a multitude of sin.
That's exactly what it says.
If we just want to do commentary on, so you're saying we can choose to love on people we don't agree with, but we do not have to tolerate sin. So, but love covers a multitude of sins, meaning that love puts up with a whole lot of bullshit sometimes.
Yep.
And until you're actually dealing with bullshit in another person and with another person, you don't actually get the opportunity, and really haven't really seen what the opportunity looks like to love them. You've just been You've been enduring the like phase and the candy cane phase of your relationship with them. And then when there's bullshit that comes up and there's like problems and issues that you don't like, that's where love comes into play. And love loves you through the fact that you're being a bitch. All right? And so
that's a very good point. I love that, because what you're speaking to is not just religious or spiritual, but the reality of humanity. You're not dealing with real love until you get nitty gritty and you get down in it. And just knowing of someone, you don't love. I don't love Ryan Seacrest. I don't love Barack Obama. I don't have anything against either of those people, and I respect them. But I don't love them. I don't know them. I haven't had to put up with any of their shit.
Right, exactly. And so when we don't have to tolerate certain things. There's certain levels of like, if somebody's inflicting pain on you, like physical pain, then that's something different. Then you can change your system and stuff like that. You know. But if somebody's going down the street and they're having a sexual interaction with each other, that there's no reason that you need to somehow quote unquote tolerate that, because like that has nothing to do with you.
That hasn't come in line with your life.
Right. So why are you so upset with the fact that two people went down and bumped their V's at the end of the block? Is that something that you need to tolerate?
How did it affect you?
Right. And so, if you do love these people, then yes, you can tolerate them, because you don't actually love people if you're not able to tolerate them. So,
it's all very.
I'm trying to follow you here. That you're saying that you can choose to love people you don't agree with. Yes, and how do you love people that you don't agree with? Is that you tolerate them, not that you don't tolerate them.
Exactly.
It's like, it just blows my mind here. We should not want to have anything to do with it. But you can not want to go have gay sex, but that doesn't mean that you have to go.
You don't have to be against gay sex.
You don't have to hate the people that have gay sex.
I don't desire to have it, but that doesn't mean like, oh well, okay, I want to try this one out here. Really quick. So, Bill Burr, I believe it was Bill Burr, is a pretty noteworthy comedian. I'm a big fan of his. But he talks about...
Not Bill Burr, the singer?
No, different Bill Burr.
Okay, go ahead.
He talks about, and this is insensitive, but you've been a good friend and you've been very, very gracious in letting me say the things that I've said so far. He talks about his, and again, it's more of a comedy routine, but to me it makes sense. The difference between, like, I'm a straight man, I see two gay people kissing, I may not necessarily be like, oh, that's the greatest thing ever. To me, that might be somewhat disconcerting, let's say, okay? However, if two gay people or one gay person sees me kissing a woman, to them that might be a bit disconcerting as well, because that's not necessarily their thing. Right. So I like how he puts it in, just like, oh, that's weird or gross or what. But you don't have to go, hey, that's weird and gross. No, you can keep walking and have your own thing going on. That's fine.
Right.
But just because you don't like it doesn't mean you have to not tolerate it or call it out as sin. That's not how this works.
It's like if everyone in the world was gay and you're straight and you're watching straight porn. Right. Is everyone supposed to be like, oh, you need to swap over and watch the gay porn? Like, really? Is that what we need to do? Exactly. You need to swap over and watch the gay porn. That's going to really solve the problems right there, right? And then if everyone's straight and the gay people are watching the gay porn, then they're like, you guys should really swap over and watch the straight porn, right? That's going to be much better for you there.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's not necessarily we're trying to promote porn, but I'm just saying, like,
I don't have a problem with it. It's fine.
If it's like, what, and then we're saying we're supposed to live a life separated. That doesn't mean that we should love that whole
shouldn't love them. That doesn't mean
that we should love them.
That's a double negative.
And treat them with respect. I'm not speaking in shunning or ignoring or insulting anyone who doesn't live the same lifestyle. And again, hold on 1 second. Can we just drop the word lifestyle out of this whole thing? And you've said it a couple times tonight. I know.
Correct me. Do it.
But the being when you. If you
is it kind of like lifestyle sounds like more of a choice?
Yeah, like you
I chose this lifestyle.
Hold on a second. You get to choose. You get to choose whatever your behavior is. Okay, and being gay is not some sort of lifestyle that people like I was saying, like a 5 or 7 year old kid that parents are like, oh, I know you're gay. That's not a lifestyle. So would you say that some 7-year-old kid has a lifestyle. I mean, Richie Rich had a lifestyle,
right.
But the average 7-year-old that's going to school all day, I wouldn't necessarily consider that a lifestyle.
And also, to keep it fair and even, and I like what you're saying, I like that you called me out on it. I honestly appreciate that.
Yeah.
How often do you see or hear someone say, "Oh, they live a straight lifestyle"? When have you ever heard that?
Like, people don't
so
really
why
say
should
that.
So why should it apply to the other side of the coin? It shouldn't.
I mean, and what does lifestyle entail? Does that mean you like Polo, Ralph Lauren?
Right.
Like,
that's what lifestyle.
Like actually, like being on top of a horse
means.
And playing.
Right.
Or is lifestyle having to do with like you're into boating, or is lifestyle having to do with like, if you're into dicks, that's not a lifestyle. I'm sorry, it's not. No. And because there's lots of females who are into dicks, but do they have a lifestyle? And you call that, is that a new lifestyle?
Right.
Yes.
Nope.
She's into dicks. It's a lifestyle. I chose it.
That might be the title of this episode. She's into dicks. That's a lifestyle.
That's a lifestyle. Like it's.
That's good though.
It just doesn't add up.
John, honestly, thank you for clearing the air on that. Like that helps. That helps me to understand. That helps a lot of other people to understand and be more accepting.
Right.
And just understanding of the fact. And when you said it, I was like, shit, I did say that a couple times. Yeah. And you're right. Like, it's not a lifestyle like a choice or like fucking polo or because you like playing baseball.
Yeah, it's like saying that, you're blind. That's a lifestyle.
There you go. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
You live the blind lifestyle.
Right,
huh?
exactly. You like eating strawberry jelly. Lifestyle. You know what I mean?
That's not how it works.
I know I mean, lifestyle does apply to certain aspects of life and stuff like that, and more so, I feel like it's like what kind of like things you're like kind of into.
Yeah.
The things that God put into your body and like He created in you aren't necessarily lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
You know,
it's how
you're blonde. Lifestyle.
No, I get it. Like it was a predisposition kind of thing. Like you can't say that's a lifestyle.
Exactly.
It's how you were born.
Or God lets you eat one burger and you put on 5 pounds, and other people eat a burger and like they lose pounds. And you're like, WTF? So are you supposed to say like
burger
people
lifestyle.
that eat burgers are that's their lifestyle? Eating burgers, like. Meanwhile, Michael Phelps is jamming 17 burgers in his face, and he's got 6-pack abs. And you're like, "What the H, man?" You know what I mean? So it kind of is like it's just defining that lifestyle means something.
Yes.
I always find it interesting that Gold City put out a song called "What a Great Lifestyle."
Yeah. Yes.
Living for Jesus. Anyways,
I like it.
That was an interesting
hilarious.
song choice. But
we'll stop bashing this person who shall remain nameless. We'll go on to the next one. What's sad is when Christians won't take a stand. She had the opportunity. So let me just go back because I know we've been all over the map now. We're talking about Lauren Daigle and the fact that she didn't condemn someone who has a gay lifestyle, is gay.
Right. That's because like everybody that she works with is gay.
It's true.
I'm sorry,
it's the music industry.
The music industry is gay, and it's like the music pastor dude at your church is probably gay.
You'll never know it.
You'll never
tell
know it.
You.
Yeah. But he gay.
Yeah. Let him know.
Let him know. I don't know. I'm not saying every guy out there in the world is gay that does music, but there's a great majority that are.
I like what you're saying because I was the music pastor. So.
I love this. Stuart's still fighting.
I'm fighting.
Someday he'll come out.
I'll come over. She had the opportunity to state what we know to be the truth about the topic according to the Word of God in the name of, here it is, in the name of acceptance and tolerance. Many Christians are dropping their standards, air quotes if you're just listening, and have become either just like the world or not far removed from the world, so that it's hard to tell who is who anymore.
Can we just pause there?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot to unpack right there.
Sorry,
oh my God.
I'm running through it so fast.
Just like the world are not far removed from the world. The whole concept here is that there's like some other group of people out in the world that is known as the world, and those people that are in the world
that are worldly, right?
Yes.
So that'd be a good way to describe them.
And it's hard to tell who is who anymore, because the people in the world.
First of all, why do we need to know who's who?
I don't even. Sorry. I can't even grab my head around that right now. Like, whoa. It's like that you are a part of the world. And so we're all connected in the world. And the thing is that the whole concept in the IFB is that there's this other group of people, and we're in this other special group of assholes. That that everyone else needs to do something in order to get into our asshole group. You know what I mean?
The cool kids.
Right, the cool kids, or that we're in this special well,
we're better than everyone else.
Yeah,
we really are like that.
So
but you think about it. You think of, and I know I'm taking away from your point probably, but you think about it like how we were raised, how we were taught, what we preached, what we learned. It's all about being, not unlike some stuff Adolf said. We're the supreme people. We're better. We're going to heaven. That's why we knock on doors on every Saturday, because they're going to hell. We have to save them because they're not. And again, I understand oh, well, no, we just asked Jesus. It doesn't make us better. Yeah, but that's not how you really feel. That's not how you really believe. I guarantee you, and I've said it before, there were so many times, and I know other people feel this way too, still feel or used to, people would offer me drinks or a cigarette, and I'd be like, oh, no, I don't drink. And I would make up some excuse other than Christianity or being an IFB person as to why I didn't drink or smoke or whatever. But in reality, I was like, I'm better than you guys. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I'm so much better than you. And it's not just that. It's a multitude of things that we don't do, whether it's rock and roll music or dress standards, actual legalism. But, it is for so many people, it's about being a part of that club that's better than everyone else.
Right.
And let's be honest, let's be real. Wouldn't we all want to be a part of that club? Wouldn't you want to be better than everyone else? That's me appealing to my own pride, but I would love to be better than everyone else, because that means I'd probably be making more money than everyone else.
Right.
I'd probably be on more TV shows and movies than everyone else. I'd be doing all this other cool stuff that no one else gets to do.
Right.
But just because I want to be better than everyone else doesn't make me better than everyone else.
Right.
And a book that was written eons ago, and me adhering to a couple of verses I took out of context, doesn't make me better than anyone.
Right.
Most especially not everyone else.
Right. And it's talking about Christians are dropping their standards.
Yeah.
And so it's we have some sort of there's some sort of better than thing.
Yes, there definitely is.
And the standards create that. It's almost let's just go into the clothing industry for just a minute here. You think that somebody's got a nicer suit on or better crisp pants on or a nicer shirt on. Well, the reason we like that is because they have higher standards. Yeah. They have higher standards than the rest of us because we're wearing sloppy seconds clothing. Sure. You know what I mean? And and this person has higher standards, so we give them more respect and dignity or whatever you want to say. And so we kind of want to do that same kind of idea with people and saying that Christians are supposed to have some sort of higher standard than everybody else, and so therefore they're somehow better than everybody else. Yeah. And so many people have just dropped their standards and they're wearing normal clothes now.
God forbid.
Yes, and they have become either just like the world, just like everyone else in the world, or not far removed from being everyone else in the world, because they're not stepping into we've got to step in line up this ladder thing in order to
the blessings.
It's blessings culture, which is that somebody ahead of me can shit on me literally in the face, and I can open my mouth and enjoy all the blessings of that in the blessings culture.
So many blessings.
Because I can now move up to that rung and I can shit on everybody else beneath me. So it becomes what's the obulus thing where the snake's eating its own head or whatever?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's kind of just like a giant shit train. Everyone's just kind of shitting on each other, and you can shit on everybody at the bottom because it's okay because I'm climbing.
Maintain that level of shittiness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Some level of wonder up there. Oh, and so people are dropping their standards just like the world, not far removed. So it's hard to tell who is who anymore, because everyone's recognizing that we're all connected and that we're not in some sort of line of weirdness. Because of her influence, she had a wonderful opportunity to do what?
To shit on
shit on everybody.
Yes, exactly.
Because that would be a really great way to get all of the gays to come back to Jesus and to stop.
Yes. Tell them they're an abomination.
To stop doing this, and doing this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't leave that out.
We need to. So all that's gonna get canceled on by you treating other people like shit. So if we shit on them more, then they're all gonna love Jesus more. And they're all.
The answer is more hate speech.
Yes,
come on.
Exactly.
Really.
Because you know how many people have been reached with hate. So many.
Just look at the Crusades.
Exactly. Crusades worked, right?
They did. They slaughtered millions.
Because of her influence, she had a wonderful opportunity, probably at the fear of losing fans or followers, because I'm sure she's really afraid when she went on the Ellen show that she was going to lose some fans.
Highly doubted.
And preferred to stay neutral. Otherwise, why would she be afraid to stand up for what is right? Because this is to say that her saying that God's in charge of all this thing is to say that it's not
the wrong
right.
answer?
That's the wrong answer. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the right answer is to throw everyone under the bus.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Others have stated their beliefs in a non-judgmental way, but she's not supposed to.
Right.
What's popular is not always right, and what's right is not always popular. Whatever.
So much, dude.
Yeah. What's popular is not always right. Yeah.
Okay.
What's right is not always popular. God.
We'll make that the title of this episode.
Please.
Here's what I'd like to come to, and I don't know if we have a great answer here, if we have the crazy amazing solution.
We don't really have a whole lot of solutions.
Not tonight.
No, I was kidding.
But my thought is, there's enough trouble and enough heartache and enough war and enough death and enough negativity in the world. Why? Not why, but just, can you put this one aside? Can we? And I'm not saying like ignore things or be, if someone rubs you the wrong way, just let them keep doing it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like this so-called issue of someone being gay, why does that have to pervade our life, and why does it have to be such a negative thing when at the very least we could literally leave someone else alone, and at the very best accept them and love them for who they really are?
Right.
What's the answer? Where do we go from here? How do we, and honestly, overall, I know I'm really focusing on IFB and religion and a very small part of society, and people that just won't accept others for who they are.
Right.
But for the world at large, I think we're doing really good. Yeah. I think we've made a lot of strides.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the U.S. especially, but this is where I live, so I've seen a lot of changes, a lot of things going well.
Right.
I've seen people refusing to bake cakes. They're fucking stupid, but nothing I can do about them. What do we do for this small strain, these few people that just can't get it through their heads that, I like the way you put it because I feel like it's eloquent. One person's part of their skin touching another person's part of their skin is somehow the end of the world for them.
Right.
How do those people move forward? Do they never move forward? Do we never see progress for them? Or do they find some kind of a way to understand, like, hey, I have relatives or family or friends that are gay and it's okay?
Right. And I think what it comes down to is like letting love lead the way, if that makes any sense.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes.
It's saying that, like, at what point do you break down and actually follow what Christ said? Do you actually believe, is Jesus really God? Yeah. And did he really put gay people here? Or was that just some mad plot of the devil in order to, like, get at your family and stuff like that? I mean, it's just bonkers. Like, nuts. If you let love lead the way, then you realize that God created this whole jazz here.
Yep.
And he included a lot of really colorful and brilliant people, like including Alan Turing, who created the modern computing. It stems from this guy who helped solve the Enigma code, and meanwhile he was like castrated. A lot of people know the story.
Yeah,
he
was terrible.
Some of the brightest minds in our world. The guy that runs freaking Apple right now, that was like Steve Jobs' right-hand guy, gay guy. I mean, he runs one of the biggest companies in the freaking world.
Yeah.
And it's like some of the brightest minds of our time have been gay. I mean, like so many of the people that stored all the music that came from the Middle Ages and stuff like that. A lot of the records that were stored by gay people that worked in the church that weren't necessarily out, but they were gay. God's put so many amazing people on this planet, and there's so many great people that are just completely ignored, passed over, and ran over, because of this circumstance that God's put into their lives, and we're so busy trying to change them instead of just loving them where they are. Let God run the fucking show.
Leave it alone.
Let them be whatever it is.
Yeah.
It is not your job to fix these people. You know what I mean? This isn't an AA thing.
Because nothing's wrong.
It's not a consumption issue. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
just let the people be where they are, and if God's going to change them, He will change them in His time, in His place, in His will. And it is not your job to hate on them. It is your job to love on them. Because like I was saying, come back to Jesus. The teaching of Christ is to love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
You first of all have to love yourself. If you don't know how to treat yourself and how to love on yourself, regardless of whether God made you gay or straight or European, like you can still try loving on yourself, and then you can therefore also love on other people to the amount and level that you love on yourself.
And I love that because I feel like that is the solution, is loving yourself. And let's be real, from our background and what we know, and I'm not downplaying anything that you've said.
Right.
I feel like people that come from a cultish or an IFB or a very sheltered background, or maybe just had a very tough childhood because of abusive parents, you either literally hate yourself,
right,
or have no clue how to love yourself.
Right. You are taught everything that you are bad.
Yes.
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 The greatest way for anyone, a cult leader, to take advantage of anybody.
Yes.
If I want to take advantage of you right now, I'm going to teach you that you're bad. And the second I've got you feeling that you're bad, I can take advantage of you any way I want to. And it's crazy. And people are doing it every single day of the week, and people are not opening their eyes to it. And that's why you have to let love lead the way.
Yeah.
You have to realize that you are worth something. God loves you exactly how you are. He made you the way He wanted you to be.
You're worthy of love.
You're worthy of love and belonging.
Every human being, every animal, every being, like we all deserve love.
Exactly.
And I know there's terrible, murderous, rapist people out there. I'm not trying to make room or justify for them, but I am saying, like, we all have a capacity to love.
Right.
We all have a capacity to receive love.
Right.
And so many of us, not so many, but inside of this realm, we've had that seared, we've had that cut off.
Right.
We have felt the depths of just this terrible feeling of the fact that we're not worthy, we're not worth it, and that's because of what other people have told us about ourselves.
Right.
Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that. I don't know exactly where to tell you to start, but you don't even have to look in a mirror. You just start in your brain. My therapist has talked to me about how our brains are trained, and how the fact that every time you do something or think something, there's this circuit that completes. And every time, all that repetition, like, over and over and over again, every time that circuit continues to repeat itself, the more you've trained yourself to think or act or behave a certain way. And so many of us have been trained for so long that we're no good, and we've been trained in ways that seem innocent, like, man, I'm just super humble, or I just thank the Lord for everything He's done for me, and again, I'm not downplaying your clear belief in God at all. I'm just saying we've gotten to where we want to make it sound like we're just super humble or just super self-sacrificing, or we just want to serve others. And there's nothing wrong with humility, serving others, or being sacrificial. But when it gets put on steroids in the cult like the IFB is, there's no room for you. There's nothing wrong with sacrifice and service and loving others. But when you've done that to the point that you've maxed that out, and there's no room in your life for yourself and your own feelings and your own self-love, there's a huge problem. Huge problem. And a great way to start stopping that is just to acknowledge it, first of all, and then to say, I'm worthy of love. Just fucking say it. Right. Say it to yourself, say it out loud. I don't care how crazy you sound. Just say it. Find a way to express it to yourself. That doesn't mean you need to start stress eating like I'm doing currently. Doesn't mean you need to buy yourself a bunch of toys or clothes that you don't need. It just means you need to acknowledge that you're worthy of love, and it's okay. And then, like you said, I love that, because I feel like where do we go from here was a question I'd written down, but I feel like you answered it perfectly. Love yourself and love other people. Right. And that's it.
Yeah, because like the first commandment was to love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and body. Honestly, I don't even know what that means, and I don't even think that most people could even like actually put the words what that actually means, because that is so far beyond us right now. You can grasp the concept of loving yourself, and you can grasp the concept of loving others. That's hard enough. If you only get commandment number 2, I'm sure commandment number 1 will follow suit somewhere in there.
Right.
But like get commandment number 2, which is like likened to it, which is to love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself.
And you can't love your neighbor as yourself until you love yourself.
Right. So let's just ask you this: like, if you were gay, should you love yourself? Yes or no?
There you go. That's good.
And then if your answer is no, I shouldn't love myself, then all the gay people should just be going out and like hating everybody.
Yeah,
including themselves because they hate themselves because that's how they treat themselves because they don't love themselves. So therefore then according to that scripture, then all of a sudden they're like they don't love anybody else because they don't ever love themselves. And that's
terrible.
Crazy.
That sounds awful.
You know what I mean?
This is a terrible way to live.
So if you were gay, would you love yourself? And could